Yeah, I'm Justin VanZuiden, the screen name STL Cardinals 84 in the daily fantasy world, and I've been involved here at RotoGrinders for about 5 or 6 years now. Do a lot of stuff with our golf content, which I have a lot of fun with. I also do a lot of MLB content as well, the lineup HQ tags, things of that nature, expert surveys, value rankings, and involved in the media side as well with our Grinders live shows and with our SiriusXM fantasy shows. On Friday, May 4th of 2018, I won $100,000 on FanDuel and $25,000 on DraftKings, so it was a great night for me. Yeah, so I just had the one entry into the DraftKings, the $888 buy-in, and I was pretty set that that was going to be my only lineup for the night. But as we got closer to lineup lock, I was feeling better about the guys that I was on, so I did the FanDuel lineups pretty much last minute and managed 18 entries into that enormous Grand Slam, which had a $44 buy-in with the one magical one that took home first place. There are a lot of people out there that think you have to enter 75, 100, 125 lineups in order to win these big GPPs. And I do enter max enter lineups on occasion, but a lot of times my bigger wins have come from single entries or fewer amounts of entries than a lot of people would expect. And that's part of the reason why this win was so gratifying for me. I had 18 entries on FanDuel, but just the one entry on DraftKings that night. It can be done with lower amounts of entries. Obviously, your risk is less when you have lower entries. That's one thing people often forget about the mass entry. There's a lot of risk involved in that if you don't hit on that particular night. So sure, your odds of winning are lower just in terms of numbers if you have fewer entries, but it also forces you to move to those optimal plays, or what you believe are the optimal plays, a little more closely. I really liked the Twins on Friday and kind of gained steam on that throughout the day. They were facing a pitcher from the White Sox by the name of Carson Fulmer, who really just didn't have good numbers under the surface. He'd been pitching fairly well, but the advanced stats told a little bit of a different story. Wrote it up pretty much exactly that way in our premium content on Friday as well. Had a blurb in there about how much I like the Twins as kind of a sneaky team that nobody wanted to target. And everyone liked the Yankees. The Yankees were in a great spot, but I knew that they were going to be extremely highly owned. So I took a stance against the Yankees, played the Twins, and it worked out pretty well. And then Garrett Cole was the pitcher that I was on. Really liked him, tagged him in our premium content as well on Friday. And every lineup that I did had a bunch of Twins batters plus Garrett Cole at pitcher on Friday, and that was the perfect combination. Garrett Cole ended up with 16 strikeouts and a big performance on the mound too. So it was a great combo. Part of the reason I like doing some of our premium content so much is because it kind of forces you to get an earlier start on your day and getting the research in and getting stuff populated so that the users of the site can see it. And, it really makes me get a head start, whether it's the night before I go to bed or first thing in the morning, getting stuff organized and getting my thoughts down in writing a little bit. And then I can kind of examine the other content. Of course, Dave Potts and I combined to do the big MLB article, premium article on the site. I do it on the weekends and he does it during the week. So I know how good he is with the content. I always read his article to see if my thoughts kind of jive with his. And then you can get a pulse for projected ownership throughout the day based on who people are writing up in the expert survey, what our projected ownership tool, it's another valuable premium tool, what that looks like, and refine the process that way based on kind of how it looks like other people are thinking for the day as well. So all the stuff kind of in conjunction works great. And then if I have time in the afternoons, I'll try to check out the Grinders live shows or the Crunch Time if I'm not on the SiriusXM show myself that night. But really good stuff, and it's there and available to you, especially for the premium subscribers. And it's kind of silly not to use it when it's there, even though I like to trust my own research process. There's often things that slip through the cracks, and finding those other nuggets of information with our other content is extremely valuable. If you have a spot that you really, really like, don't be afraid to take a stand, even if not a lot of people are going to be on it. I mean, that's part of what gives you leverage in these big tournaments. I really like the Twins, and I just kind of stuck to that. I mean, all the guys were pretty much 5 to 10% owned in most of the contests, and the Yankees guys were 25, 30% owned. And if you're on that highly owned team, you really have to nail everything to get it to come together. And don't be afraid to take that stance. I know it's a little unnerving at times, but in those tournaments, that's what gives you the leverage to potentially take them down. And, you can mix and match additional plays from there. Take a stance on a team that you like or a pitcher that you like, even if they're not going to be super popular. And don't feel like you need to cover all the bases. I mean, I use the same pitcher in all my lineups. So giving yourself more opportunities when that pitcher does go off, it just gives you a better chance to take down that top prize than trying to mix and match 10 or 15 pitchers. You got to narrow down that player pool and try to find those diamonds in the rough too that not a lot of people are on, and you'll be on your way. It frustrates me more often in golf because the tournaments last 4 days, and so I get 4 days to be mad about the fact that I tinkered with my lineups. So, and it always seems to, at least you remember it when it doesn't work out. Maybe it works out occasionally, but it sure seems like it doesn't work out more times than not. So if you think your lineups are finalized, close your lineups tab, close your CSV or your Excel file, whatever you're using. Monitor the lineups to make sure things aren't changing or weather's not changing, what have you, and just stick with them once you've got them built. It's easy to second guess yourself or really get into the group think, if you're watching shows or talking to other people, but it goes along with the other things that I've mentioned. Just make sure you stick to your gut if you've got a stance that you're really high on, and more times than not, the tinkering will hurt you in the long run. So don't be afraid to take that stand and have some intestinal fortitude there, and you'll be better off for it. Another thing to note is that we're going to be doing another DFS tutorial webinar here in a few weeks. Chris Jimino did one back in April that was immensely helpful to a lot of people. And I'm going to be trying my luck with one of those. We're going to do a tutorial on multiple or mass lineup building within Lineup HQ. There's a ton of tools, a ton of things available within Lineup HQ that maybe a lot of people don't know about. So we're going to do a webinar on that. That's going to be Friday, May 25th at 2:30 Eastern. We'll do about a 30 to 45-minute webinar with some live Q&A about building multiple lineups within Lineup HQ, whether it's stacking or narrowing down your player pool, your pitchers, your hitters, wherever that may lead us and wherever the questions take us. We'll be going through that, and I will be doing that on Friday, May 25th in the afternoon before our live shows that day. So be sure to check that out, and we look forward to it to be a lot of fun.
MLB is back, which means so am I. Cheese is good. This season, in addition to my $1 Million Musings article 5 days a week, we have tons of new content for premium members. Crunch Time will debut for MLB this season and air 5 days a week, featuring Kevin Roth as host and weather updates, while a rotation of our top MLB experts provide analysis. Chris Jimino will debut a new bi-weekly video featuring lineup recommendations based on our improved premium Plate IQ tool. And we have a brand new baseball podcast debuting featuring yours truly, Cheese is Good, teaming up with pros like Sammy Reed, Andy Means, and more. All this plus great new tools and written content will be available exclusively to our premium members.